Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something really exciting, part one of the Machine Learning for IT Professionals Advanced tutorial. This comes straight from the folks at Virtualization Options LLC, a research, education, and advisory organization based out of Colorado. If you're an IT pro trying to figure out how to bridge that massive gap between your traditional infrastructure and artificial intelligence, well, you are exactly in the right place. We're getting past all that high-level theory today. This explainer is specifically for those of you who are ready to actually deploy, manage, and operationalize machine learning at scale in real-world production environments. We're zeroing in strictly on the advanced fundamentals laid out in part one today, setting the essential groundwork for the rest of this 10-part series. Let's get right into it. So here is our roadmap for today. We're going to cover, first, the ML paradigm shift. Second, core ML fundamentals. Third, data, the new infrastructure. Fourth, feature engineering explained. Fifth, model training mechanics. And finally, number 6, real-world IT applications. All right, let's kick things off with section 1, the ML paradigm shift. You know the drill. Traditional IT systems are explicitly rules-based, right? You write the logic, the system executes it. If X happens, then do Y. Simple enough. But as our infrastructures scale up, those rule sets, they become impossibly complex to maintain. Machine learning represents a massive transition to data-driven systems. Instead of following rigid, pre-programmed rules, ML systems dynamically learn from data. They detect subtle anomalies, they predict hardware failures, and they automate decisions at a scale that we humans just literally cannot match. It's a total evolution from explicit instruction to dynamic pattern recognition. Now, you might be wondering, where do I fit into all of this? You might think ML is purely the domain of data scientists, but actually, IT professionals are the absolutely vital deployment, infrastructure, and reliability layer. Think about it. A rogue algorithm can't physically reboot a server, right? From spam filters and intrusion detection to AI ops platforms and cloud autoscaling, ML is already running right under the hood of your network. But without you there maintaining the infrastructure to serve these models reliably, they're completely useless. You are the critical bridge between a theoretical algorithm and a living, breathing operational environment. Okay, moving right along to section 2, core ML fundamentals. It turns out there are basically 3 fundamental pillars we need to wrap our heads around here. First up is supervised learning. This trains on labeled data to predict specific outcomes, which, by the way, is exactly what's powering your fraud detection and log classification tools right now. Second, we have unsupervised learning. This one finds hidden patterns in data without any labels at all, making it absolutely ideal for clustering network traffic and spotting those tricky zero-day anomalies. And finally, reinforcement learning. This learns through continuous reward and penalty loops. It's the cutting-edge tech behind adaptive resource allocation and those amazing autonomous self-healing systems. Drilling down just a bit deeper, there are specific models you're going to encounter all the time: decision trees, random forests, support vector machines, and neural networks. But here is the absolute key takeaway. Choosing between these models, like, say, opting for a highly complex neural network over a more straightforward random forest, it always comes down to making strategic trade-offs. You are constantly balancing the raw compute resources required to run the model against how interpretable or explainable that model's decisions actually are. Let's jump into section 3, data as the new infrastructure. Listen, you've got to start treating your data pipelines exactly the same way you treat your production server infrastructure. Seriously. And this requires executing 3 critical steps without fail. Step 1, ensuring data quality. Because missing values, duplicates, or inconsistent formats, they will instantly corrupt your model training. Step 2 is normalization and encoding. This just means mathematically scaling numerical features and translating categorical data before you even think about feeding it to a model. And step 3 is properly splitting up that data. So regarding that split, the industry standard is 70-15-15. You allocate 70% of your data for training, 15% for validation tuning, and that final 15% strictly for evaluation. But here's the golden rule, the one thing you must never do. Never let your test data touch your training data. It's like handing a student the answer key before the final exam. Doing this causes what we call data leakage. It makes the model look artificially brilliant in testing until it inevitably fails catastrophically out there in the real-world production environment. That brings us to section 4, feature engineering explained. Once your data is clean, feature engineering is how you turn that raw data into actual actionable signal. There are 3 main tactics here. First is feature selection, which means ruthlessly removing irrelevant variables. Why? Because fewer features almost always mean faster, more accurate models. Second is feature creation. This is where you derive totally new variables from your raw data. For instance, converting simple log timestamps into a really powerful request per second metric so the model can see patterns it otherwise couldn't. And third, dimensionality reduction. By using techniques like PCA or tsne, which basically act like mathematical file compressors for your data, you ensure the model keeps blazing fast performance at scale without losing any of the essential patterns. All right, moving on to Section 5, Model Training Mechanics. Let's look under the hood. The fundamental mechanics of how a model actually learns operate on a deceptively simple, continuous, four-step feedback loop. Predict, measure, adjust, repeat. That's it. The model makes a prediction, it measures exactly how far off it was from the truth, mathematically adjusts its internal weights to reduce that error, and then repeats the whole process millions of times until it hits an acceptable level of accuracy. Now, as an IT pro facilitating all of this, it is absolutely vital you understand this next distinction. Parameters are the internal weights that are dynamically learned by the model during that training loop. You do not touch these. Keep your hands off. Hyperparameters, on the other hand, are the settings you manually configure before training even starts, things like learning rate, tree depth, or the number of epochs. So basically, hyperparameters dictate exactly how the model goes about learning its parameters. And while you're busy tuning those hyperparameters, you have to constantly balance against two extremes. Overfitting is when a model just aggressively memorizes the training data. It captures all the random noise and then completely fails to generalize out in production. Underfitting, though, is when the model is just too simple and fails to capture the underlying patterns at all. To fight off overfitting specifically, you deploy regularization techniques like L1, L2, or dropout, which basically force the model to forget minor details so it focuses on the big picture, alongside rigorous cross-validation to make sure the model is actually understanding the concepts, not just memorizing the test.
Let's bring this all home with Section 6, Real-World IT Applications.
Okay, so what does this all mean for you? Well, it's a total game changer for predictive maintenance. By training models on standard server telemetry, we're talking your CPU loads, disk I/O, thermal sensors, you can accurately predict hardware failures anywhere from 24 up to an incredible 72 hours before they even happen. No way, right? You are literally moving your entire operation from reactive firefighting to cool, calm, planned maintenance.
And the benefits don't stop there. By employing natural language processing models to instantly parse millions of log lines for AI ops, you can surface root causes exponentially faster. We're talking slashing your mean time to resolution by up to 60% in production environments. That is huge. At the same time, unsupervised models can just sit on your network edge, flagging anomalous behavior and classifying known security attack signatures with sub-second latency. The operational efficiency gains here are, honestly, simply staggering. Well, we've covered a ton of ground today in part 1 of this tutorial, moving from the whole ML paradigm shift all the way through to the actual deployment mechanics. But before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a really provocative thought from the researchers at Virtualization Options LLC, something to chew on before our next session. They say, a model deployed without monitoring is a model you've already lost control of. Think about that. Data drifts. Environments change constantly. If you aren't continuously monitoring how the system adapts, who is actually in control of your infrastructure? Keep that in the back of your mind as you look at your own deployments today. Catch you next time.